There have been times in my life when I haven't been able to pray, or at least not to pray in the way that I thought that I should pray, or that I wanted to pray. One of those times was when my dad was in the hospital. I was visiting him. I had 20-month-old Eve and 6-week-old Rose with me, and he had a risky surgery ahead of him. In a moment that surprised me, he asked me something that he had never asked me before, if I would pray. And I just couldn't. I was praying silently, but I couldn't get words out. Mercifully, Sajin was there, and we stood in a circle and held hands, and he did pray out loud. That's part of the power of community, of family. There are times when we need other people to pray when we can't, or in a way that we can't in the moment. James is highlighting that here in this passage when he says, if any of you are suffering, you should pray. If any of you are happy, you should sing. And pray for each other so that you might be healed. For some time, I felt guilty about that moment of not being able to pray out loud like my dad asked. It's kind of my job to pray, right? But I found some ease and comfort in knowing that prayer happened and it wasn't all on me. I found some ease and comfort, maybe even something like healing, in a song, an indie rock song by Julian Baker called Rejoice. It was a song that I would play on repeat at that time in my life of saying hello to a baby and also saying goodbye to my dad. It wasn't just the words, but the sound of it, the depth in her voice as she belts out lines that voiced my prayer, singing, I never know what to say, but I think there's a God and he hears either way. When I rejoice and complain, lift my voice that I was made, and somebody is listening at night with the ghosts of my friends when I pray, asking why did you let them leave and then make me stay? Know my name and all my hideous mistakes. Maybe our complaining and our rejoicing both are forms of prayer that cry out to be heard. And faith is believing that someone hears and cares. Someone made us and knows our name and all our mistakes and ghosts, and also our voice and our potential. Maybe praying for healing isn't a kind of yes or no proposition, but a kind of submitting ourselves to God, resting in God, realizing our limits and our need for God. Maybe praying is like planting seeds, letting them go, and waiting to see what will grow up and bear fruit. Not a process we can control, but one that we faithfully can tend to. Maybe entering into prayer is sometimes like entering into a chrysalis, not being able to see for a while, but strengthening our wings for whatever awaits when it's time to emerge. Maybe prayer is not always an individual thing, but a communal one, a communal experience that invites us to lean on other people who pray with us and for us. Maybe prayer is less about getting what we ask for and more about naming what we want and surrendering to what is and trusting that God is present through all the process of that. So prayer circles back into both waiting and surrender. James offers all three of these things, surrender and waiting and prayer, as something that we do, but also as a way of being, a stance that is a foundation of faithful action. So may we surrender and wait and pray in faith that God acts and God is with us in every step of our own acting. Amen.